will still win the election.
All right, and finally, amidst the worsening cash crunch across Nigeria, Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State has vowed to arrest and prosecute those rejecting old Naira notes. Governor Bello said rejecting the old Naira notes is a clear disobedience to the Supreme Court order, which he said will be vehemently resisted. He added that banks that refuse to accept old Naira deposits will have their premises sealed, as the state government will not tolerate financial institutions that willfully disobey court orders. Meanwhile, traders appear to be in the worst hit by the crisis. Here is a video that has now gone viral with a seller describing the effect of the crisis on business.
This is the Dioro market, Mushi. All these plantains, they are for sales. But just take a look at everything. Just because of shortage of cash. Because of shortage of cash, everything are rotten, spoiled. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. We don't know whom to blame now. I just believe Nigeria will survive all this. It's just too bad that these people cannot make sales from their market. No cash to buy. And everything is getting rotten. So it's just unfortunate. We can all see it. Too bad. Everything.
Again, it's a week after the judgment of the Supreme Court. We waited for this judgment. The case was instituted, and I remember the program you attended 2 weeks ago, and you said, look, let's not be in a hurry, that the Supreme Court will take their time and they will talk. And when they talk, I expected that thing happened around 4 p.m. on Friday, that day, the judgment. So I expected, okay, let's just the weekend latitude. By Monday, things will start moving. Lo and behold, I thought by Monday the Attorney General will come out categorically to say, yes, we are going to abide with the judgment of the highest court in the land, or President Muhammadu Buhari himself, or the CBN governor coming to say, according to what the CBN, the Supreme Court has just directed, that this is what we are going to do, this is how we are going to roll out this currency and everything. So by now, everything would have subsided. 1 week after, nobody has said pin.
Why? If you remember vividly on that program, I said something. And I asked that question. If that judgment is given and the president decides not to abide by it, what will happen? Remember what we said?
You as a lawyer, you should know that that's a dangerous precedent.
And I said it. I said it that day. I said, supposing the president is, because there have been precedents, and I gave several precedents. I spoke about the issue of Dasuki. I spoke issue of Ezazaki, and so many others that have gone that way. This thing wouldn't be so heated as it were, until the president came out specifically to say, I gave that directive, and that this only 200, since the president said that the old 200 remains a legal tender. That is why anywhere you go today, Jide, people accept 200 from you.
It's 200, yes.
You remember vividly? It was not being accepted before, until the president came out to make that statement. If you are in church, they accept you, boss anywhere. But take that old 500 and 1,000, give them. Nobody is accepted, irrespective of whatever anybody says. And when the governor said that he's going to arrest, I was asking, how many people will you arrest? Because those that are supposed to do the nature have not done it. The central bank has not come out to make any categorical statement.
So that day.
There was a statement that came out initially where some people said that the central bank has directed the banks to start accepting those money. Within 3 hours, central bank came back to say, we never gave that directive. And it has remained so. It's not that the banks are not ready to, but they were waiting. Till today, the central bank has not come out categorically to say, based on the Supreme Court judgment, now banks, please, let's obey this. Or you expect also the AGF that decided to go and defend the federal government against the governors on this matter. He has not come out to say anything. The same president that made a pronouncement, that made a broadcast on the issue, has not come out to, which means that what they are doing is that, as far as the central bank is concerned, is none of their business. And we are just talking off camera now, how the experience I had yesterday with just a carpenter who did a job for you for a certain amount. You say you don't have cash. He says you need to collect half of that amount if you can give him cash. And it has been some days back, I wanted to collect some money, and somebody was telling you that he's collecting 800 naira for 2,000 naira. 800 naira for 2,000 naira. Some places you go to, you want to collect 10,000 naira, they'll be charging you 7,000 or 4,000 or 5,000. And then even the SME are completely dead. The woman that is selling tomatoes, the one that is selling fish, the one that you've seen, the one that we are looking at the plantain now, and so many other businesses. You say do transfer. Is it the transfer that you've done several times that I've done that's declined and they've debited me? If I put out in my pocket now, bring out the number of declined this thing that I have. Even hotels, big time hotels. So when we're asking ourselves, how long will this? So I don't know. It is quite unfortunate. I don't even know what to do or what to say.
Let me take your first reaction to this, because Nigerians are so resilient and they're so, I don't know how to.
That's why our leaders take us for granted.
Because in all this, the hardship people are going through, and people are still quiet.
Yeah, they've not taken the law into their hands. Elsewhere, people will have begun misbehaving over all of the nonsense going on. After all, President Gafar Nemeri of Sudan was removed because he increased price of bread.
Bread alone, just bread.
You know, bread caused the French Revolution. Bread. But look at how people are suffering. You put money in the bank. I said something before that somebody attacked me on social media. A lot of the people that we engage on social media, they don't even know their left from their right. And they cannot argue constructively. They are not fact-based people. Everyone just thinks he has an opinion on anything, things that they are not even educationally qualified to talk about. He said that, why did I say that that people will lose faith in the banks? All they wanted at that time was, okay, let them take this money away, as long as it stops an individual from winning an election. Who told you it will stop the individual from winning the election? Are you God? People, those who are pressing the president at that time, some of them in the corners of their houses now, they are regretting because they too are suffering it. But at that time, they thought, oh, let's suffer it for some time, as long as it doesn't stop an individual from winning.
Do you think this news is no longer in circulation? No, I don't know.
No, let me tell you,
it's not
my account officer told me that for the past 3 weeks, that they've not brought a single new note to their branch.
Yeah.
See, there's a lot that is going on that Nigerians deserve to know. Our people, our leaders are not accountable. I said something the other day that if it were a different country, knowing that this is a crisis, the CBN governor will be briefing us
on a daily basis.
On the level of injection. What have you injected into the system? There's nothing. Nobody is asking many questions.
I was giving each bank.
Mr. Emefiele has gone mute.
Yes, it's not bothered.
I was giving to each bank.
That shows you that they have no respect for the Nigerian people. The president
and the rule of law.
The president too, who ought to take the right decision at this time. Maybe this has to do with ego.
The Constitution,
but the Constitution empowers you to obey the Supreme Court. Could the president, could he have done this during his first term? Let's tell ourselves the truth. Could he?
Have implemented this.
When
he was busy sharing trader money all over the markets.
No, the VP was. They even nicknamed him Starboy that time. Is trader money not even a vote buying? What are we talking about?
How many of those traders have returned the money?
Oh, so it was somebody entered this thing. I'm saying that this kind of policy that inflicted pain on our people.
Instead of doing,
could he have done it during his first term?
Or during the election, when he was second term election?
Yeah, when he was sick, then he was first time he would need to seek a second term. He couldn't have done it during first time because he knew that nobody would re-elect him.
He couldn't have even done it during the election for his second term.
Now the Supreme Court gave an order. The Supreme Court resolved the issue of have you given sufficient time? Yes, you have the power to do what you have done. But that same law also says you must give sufficient time So it was the job of the Supreme Court to determine whether you gave sufficient time.
Okay.
Supreme Court is not dragging your CBN Act with you. They do give sufficient time. Supreme Court reminded CBN of the fact that in some countries a whole year is given. Some even give 2 years. So you cannot start something in October and tell us that you are giving us sufficient time. The Supreme Court resolved that. So now look at where we are. Do you know why banks are not allowing this deposit?
Why?
Because CBN didn't give them go ahead to remove. Now the traders who are not collecting the money, it's not as if they don't want to obey the Supreme Court. It is because when they collect it, banks are not receiving from them.
Filling station will not collect it.
So banks are not receiving it from them.
No, they are not receiving it.
That is the problem. If banks were banks are paying that money out. Banks that have old notes in their vaults, they are paying old notes out, but they are not receiving it from people for deposits.
And for you to know that the program is a big failure, the number of it trapped, the number of amount trapped outside. Okay, we have Hassan on the line. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Ayo.
Good afternoon, Hassan.
Ayo, I'm sorry, I'll have to take you back. I want to contribute on your last topic.
Okay, quickly, please.
Okay. Ayo, you see, I don't like the idea of condemning or saying INEC failed in this election. One needs to know, and we need to know one's criteria in condemning the election, because if you look at things, a lot of things have improved in this election. One is the accreditation and voting process. Whether you like it or not, you must give INEC kudos. It doesn't take more than 3 minutes, depending on the voter. When your thumb doesn't work, like the card reader, they will take your picture immediately, give you the ballot paper, and you go and vote within 3 minutes. Give INEC kudos on that. Then another thing I want to say on this is, don't just because of one polling unit or 2 or 5 or 10 condemn 170-something thousand polling units. If you want to condemn 170-something thousand polling units, you have to have a polling of at least 80,000 or 70,000 polling units. So because there are hitches in a few places like 10, 20 or 30, you can't condemn the whole process. Another thing is, we in the northern Nigeria, like you saw you in Adamawa without light, mostly those places you see without light are things that are beyond INEC's power. Usually those places do not have Gen as an office of INEC, or maybe office of local government chairman. They do not have light. And when you have such issues in just 1 or 2 places, don't condemn the whole process. Don't just do that, because when you're condemning the whole process, you're saying we have not improved, and we have improved tremendously. In the 19 northern states, what used to come out is, when you see a process that is not fair, that you are forcing somebody on people, we don't waste our time in burning tires.
Yes.
Have you seen any state that burn tires?
Kill people.
Have you seen any state that came out to cry out that we were given what we didn't vote for? These are the things you look at, and don't just condemn the whole process and say it is
How
bad.
are you coping with the Naira in Alwa?
It is bad, Babajide. It's an evil policy, and we reject it in its entirety. Just as you said, the president couldn't have done this in 2019. It is wicked. It is wicked, and it needs to stop. And let me tell you, he's holding on to it because of the gubernatorial election, and he will relax it. He will follow the Supreme Court judgment after the gubernatorial election. He will do that. So I'm standing by the governors and states that stood by the people. I will never stand by a wicked policy like this, because I want to defend government. We've defended Buhari. We were his facade from 2015 to date. We have defended him even when he was wrong. But this one is wicked. This policy we cannot defend.
Thank you.
It's directly hitting the people.
People are suffering.
Thank you.
Awan Hassan, thank you for your intervention. Because ultimately, you're a lawyer or a body lawyer, but when you now look at this Supreme Court judgment, and at the end of the day, Awan is saying that after the governorship election,
some people
do you know
have said that
do you know the number of Nigerians that would
die before that time?
Part of
their goal was
do you know the number of businesses?
because they think those governors have old notes that they want to spend during election. And the governors of Zamfara, there was a picture of the governors of Zamfara with tons of cash. They said they were sharing it. But it's a lie. It's a lie. It's a very old picture. It's just like Zulum, Governor Zulum. Governor Zulum can share 200 million at one location. And he will do it by himself, standing. So a governor was sharing money. A long time ago, they made it look like a new picture. They now said, oh, and this kind of people. And the governor of Zamfara said, EFCC, break into any of my property that you are aware. Whatever money you see there, take it away. EFCC has not taken up the challenge since then because he knew that he didn't keep money. I don't know how Nigerians think. Most people, most governors would rather store money in foreign currency. What would they be doing with our currency that has no value?
Those that drafted our constitution, the 1999 constitution, as amended, has the best of intention when it comes to immunity clause for president, vice president, governors, and deputy governors. And you can see what is happening. Our leaders are misusing it. Yes.
No,
because a governor,
because I think 10 governors now, they said they will file a
contempt
against the Attorney General and the CBN.
You know, because why am I saying this? Although that is what happened, the Supreme Court in the United States cannot give a judgment against Biden, and for 2 seconds.
Maybe they search his house the other day. They gave order that they should go and search his residence.
He said he will not obey. Or the Prime Minister of UK. Or some of these, you understand what I mean?
Offense now.
These are impeachable.
Unfortunately, we don't have.
That even it's not even the Supreme Court that will take up your. The National Assembly will take up your matter within days. The Assembly, yes.
Look at the way they dealt with Trump now.
The Senate and will take up the matter. Okay, you now said okay, you can't obey. They take up your matter and will. So when our leaders
Trump
come to realize that
some of them impeached him,
but a president just sat there because he appoints the Chief Justice of Nigeria, he appoints and sent to the Senate for them to now concur and rest of this. He can do anything. The Supreme Court gave a judgment. Till now, nobody is coming. Emefiele is sitting down there as a chief. In fact, he's a governor of his own too.
No, he's waiting for instruction. He's waiting for instruction. But
most often than not, you cannot blame Emefiele, because if the president gives an instruction to Emefiele today, do this. He has no option than to do it.
But even if we look at the Supreme Court judgment, you know,
he had no option.
CBN was not.
So I still leave it on the table of the president.
CBN was not joining the suit. So
tactically,
and Supreme Court said, as an agency of government, they are also liable. So Supreme Court sealed that issue. The Supreme Court affirmed that. Now the president is the one who gave the order, and even in the speeches that he was reading,
said this. He said,
I have. You know, he has already. The CBN governor didn't do this like an independent person. He's been running to the president, going to Daura and all that. So it's the president that is responsible for the pains that our people are going through. We have to tell ourselves the truth. It just happens that Emefiele is the tool.
He's the errand boy.
He's the errand boy in ensuring that the pain continues. What I've been to the north recently, and what people are saying is, well, since this has happened, they know that Buhari will soon leave office, that they are ready to wait. Because so many of the people, they still have their money. They still have their own notes.
The old money, that's
and they can't take it to the bank. They can't change. This is sheer wickedness. There's no other way by which you can describe it. And I know that even the deluded people who are saying, I stand by Emefiele, in their hearts now, they know that
everybody is sharing the breakfast.
Yes, they will serve breakfast.
You may have the best of intention,
when the rain falls, there is no even good intention in the thing. There is no economic value to what they have done. If they had read about how these things suffered people in India, they would not have tried it in 2016. And India has the tools that we don't have. But it suffered the poor people in India. The big people that they targeted, they did not really suffer from it. This is exactly what is happening.
Sikian, I want to thank you for your contribution.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being here.